to this week's Mystic Message. This week we are getting into a huge theme of the old matrix structure that is collapsing, that is disintegrating before our eyes, and what the new version looks like. So as a just quick summary, right? Our old reality, the old matrix, old paradigm, 3D, kind of patriarchy, whatever you want to term it, I don't really care. Old earth, it is collapsing. That is the systems built on, lack of freedom, on hierarchy, on repression and suppression, on inequality, all of these kind of grosser ideas that have kept us very limited. And the new is being created, and we're ready to be ushered over into it. And so go listen to the May energy forecast that is fully available now to the public, that really gets into this big shift and why this is the stuff that I'm really going to dive into heavily. So this big theme is around competition versus collaboration. So our egos have been built and structured, this human part of us, right? Our ego that is here to keep us alive, here to keep us in survival. It is really tied to who we are in this plane of existence, in this third dimensional reality. And it's here to keep us safe, and it's here to keep us alive. And one of these things that it was built on is this idea of competition. A, from a scarcity perspective, and B, to be worthy of being accepted into a community. And so if you think back to, older times, before a modern society, competition was bigger because we had to be the best to hunt down our food, to find the best place to set up our community or our village. The spaces, there's only certain best spaces, right? We want to be by the water. We want to be on the flat land. We want to, all of these things, right? I got to be, and then there's the idea of I have to be the best, right? Because I have to provide for my community, for my family, for my village. So A, for that survival, but B, I have to bring something to the table or what they're not going to need me around. So it's been ingrained in us for a very, 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 very long time that competition is a necessity, that we must compete with one another, that we have to be the best. And then as, modern society has blossomed into the beauty that it is today, that kind of has turned into this kind of corporate reality, this hierarchical climbing of the corporate ladder, or, top 1% up here and then everyone down here kind of competing against each other to work their way up to just have a living wage or exist in this reality. Competition is crumbling, and that triggers a lot of people. When you interact with someone who is just like of that super abundance mindset, and that can feel triggering of the reason that triggers us is because we're still ingrained in this competition mindset of having to be better, right? We're constantly competing with one another. No matter what line of work, whether you're an entrepreneur or you have a job and you're competing kind of with your coworkers to be more valuable, right? I remember having a job where my coworker was the one who was supposed to be teaching me how to do the job, and he very specifically was choosing not to teach me things so that he had job security, so that I couldn't become better than him at our job. And instead of teaching me the best way possible so that we both could do the best job for the greater good, he only thought about himself. And I have to be the best so that my employer needs me and they will not ever let me go. That is the type of stuff that is disintegrating, that we are letting go of. And so if you notice any of these things coming up to trigger you, that is beautiful, because that is your opportunity to release it, to let it go. And so everything that we are releasing and disconnecting from over here, right? This over here, this is our old matrix system. There is a version, a higher frequency version of these same kinds of ideas that exist over here in our new matrix structure. To really ingrain and to anchor in and to settle into this new structure, we have to let go of the old, right? If you've been listening to me talk, it's like imagine the old and the new, and there's this little bridge in between. Well, so a lot of us are kind of halfway. We're like on this bridge, but we're tethered. Imagine you're on this bridge and you're tethered to this old because of these connection points, these programs, these belief systems of I have to be the best, of the only way to get ahead is to climb the corporate ladder, is to make myself irreplaceable, to, all of these, there's not enough, right? It really can, it trickles into that not enough, lack of abundance mindset. And so, but that keeps you tethered over here to the old. So as much as you're trying, you're just kind of like moving in place. So we have to let go of those so that we can anchor into the new. So what is this becoming? Competition is becoming collaboration. It is this shift in perspective. It is a shift in the programming and the belief systems. And with this, the ego is really going, the ego and the shadow, of course, they're going to have a hard time. Again, as we shift from the old to the new, there are going to be ego deaths. Shadow work is required. We can't head in the sand about all of our issues and shift into the new paradigm, 5D, new earth, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to, the ascension, awakening, whatever you want to call it. These are the things that have to be addressed. And so this is a huge one. And so when you feel yourself triggered or you feel yourself in competition mode, right? If you are an entrepreneur and you see someone else in your line of work doing something, and instead of genuinely feeling like excited for them or like, let's collaborate kind of vibe, or like, that's my vibe, let's chat. And you're feeling like I got to be better than them, or they have more clients than I do. That is your triggered moment to say, okay, I am no longer, this is your phrase, and this has been working for me with various things that have come up. I am no longer subscribing to the belief system that blah, 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 that there's not enough, that I have to be the best in order to succeed, to be worthy, to have my needs met, to be safe, to put food on the table, whatever those things are. We don't have to go as deep right now because the collective energies are really supporting a massive release. I no longer subscribe to blank, 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 blank. I had a lot of this stuff come up in the past couple weeks. And so, because what happened when we move into collaboration, when we let go of those things, right? And it's really hard to envision this kind of newer energy if we're still over in the old energy, if we're still feeling like that tension, right? The old, right, competition has that restrictiveness. It has tension that kind of brings you in and smaller. And so it's the opposite of expansive. Over here we have expansive. Collaboration is expansive. It's exponential. When we collaborate and work with one another, the energy doesn't just multiply times 2. It is exponential. It is bigger. It's times 5. It's times 10. It's times 100. Depending, whatever. It varies, right? But I hope you understand the idea. And so we have to let go of over here. It is that restrictive. It is that tension. It's every man for themselves. If you subscribe to the idea of it's every man for themselves, no one's ever going to help me, I'm on my own, I got to do it all myself, right? That, again, those are examples of the belief systems over here that we have to let go of. And it's not to become codependent over here. It's to be sovereign, to be, autonomous, to be within your own energy with the confidence to know that you've got it. And when we come together in community, because community is not going away, it's just getting bigger. It's getting, lighter, it's getting less toxic, it's getting more authentic. When we come together in a group and collaborate on one big thing from a place of a bigger collective vision, that is the superpower of this new reality of community, of collaboration, versus over here trying to do everything yourself. And yeah, sometimes the world and life reinforces those ideas of like, I got to do it all myself. Like, trust me, been there. But again, our external reality is a mirror of what is inside. So if that is what's taking place, if you feel like every time you do try to collaborate or work together with another person, it doesn't work out for whatever reason, there's something in you that is calling those things to you. And so whether or not you can pinpoint where it comes from, is it a past life thing? Is it ancestral? Is it, mental programming or belief systems? Is it childhood trauma? You don't have to know all of the details to have the awareness. The awareness is the most important part. The awareness is the moment that you are triggered and you're like, oh shit, like I'm doing that thing. I'm doing that ugly thing that I don't really want to admit to anyone. I choose to release all connections to these belief systems, to these programming. I no longer subscribe to blank, blank, blank. And then that allows you to disconnect over here. And the beauty, this beautiful thing that I've done is with my soul streams that are these 15-minute transmissions, I just did an anchoring into the new matrix system one that is perfect for right now. It is perfect for when we disconnect from something over here and we're really ready to intentionally, anchor deeper in over here. So I hope that helps. If you've ever been in a group healing, or you've ever come to one of my group events, or a group meditation, or a group yoga class, or mindful, anything that you're surrounded by authentic people that are not in competition, and you feed off of that energy, and the energy gets bigger, it gets stronger. You're on this high, you feel lighter, you feel more yourself, you feel more in your body, and you feel relaxed, right? That is a perfect example of this new energy vibe, this new reality vibe. And so don't be afraid to collaborate. Of course, don't forget, here's your reminder, and this is going to be a reminder every time, discernment, discernment, discernment. This is why discernment has been huge. We have to use proper discernment to know what energies are appropriate or aligned or on our kind of matching of our frequency to collaborate with, all right? So that we don't end up, trying to collaborate with something over here that is really just viewing you as competition, right? So use your discernment. Is this aligned? Is this an aligned collaborative, kind of endeavor? Or am I falling into a trap of someone else's hierarchical competition game? All right? Mwah, all my love. Next week, I will be doing a group healing on Wednesday. Go on over to fringespirit.com, check it out, and register for free. Mwah. Bye.